Hey guys, and welcome back to a new YouTube video. So as you can see by the title, this time last year in 2020, I did my British Army Assessment Centre. So it's basically been a year since I officially joined the army. So I thought it'd be quite a cool video to put together all of the dates, all of the things I've done in the last year, and kind of make a little timeline and yeah, kind of explain like the cool things I've done, thoughts and feelings along the way, and hopefully what my second year in the army is going to look like. So I want to put some timestamps in the description to go to certain things like the recruit stage, the basic training stages, and then like phase 2 and stuff like that. So if you just want to jump to those bits, feel free, they'll be in the description. Without further ado, let's hop right into the timeline. So the real army journey for me started in December when I passed my assessment centre, and that's when you're officially kind of like in and going through the motions. But the application process for anyone that might be going through it or might be wondering how long it takes, I mean, I was really proactive. It was a summer off from university going into my masters, so I didn't have much time, so I was on the phone to the careers office a lot, on the phone to my candidate support manager a lot, trying to chase everything up, because you have to be like that because it can be quite slow. So for me, I applied in early July. I then did my medical and had that sorted by like mid-August, so I was just waiting for an assessment centre date and to be paired with a unit, but obviously I knew I was moving to London, so I couldn't do that until I moved, which delayed me from mid-August to the end of September. Paired with a unit in September, then I got my assessment centre date, and I got that about November-ish sort of time, so a few weeks before. And in the meantime, between end of September and November, I was doing familiarisation visits at the unit and also with the regiment, going to the occasional drill nights, basically doing PT with them, and like learning bits about the army. And that was a really great way to sort of like pad out that time, because it did feel like a long wait. But then I went to the assessment centre, which I did it in Lichfield, and I did it on the 10th of December 2020. And obviously I've got a video here, I'll link it, all about the assessment centre and what that was like. So I did that then, and then I had to wait for attestation. Obviously Christmas, everything shut down, and then I had January exams because I was doing my masters. So I attested on the 26th of January, which to be honest was quite quick. So really my journey in the reserves of officially actually being in the army was fully 2021. So the way the year kind of looked for me was I attested in that January, and then February, March, April kind of time, it was coming out of a lockdown here in the UK. So all of my drill nights were on Zoom, and I remember being really nervous going to the first ones because it was the first introduction I had to the army and being in that environment and having to remember the correct etiquette of corporal and sir, and just being introduced to this whole world of like, you know, soldiering. Like it felt like a very weird introduction to do that on Zoom, but it also meant that I sort of spotted a lot of faces on the Zooms. We'd be put in breakout rooms. It's kind of social in that respect, so that when I actually did go in person to drill nights, I actually kind of knew people before I went, and it was a lot easier to talk to people. So yeah, January, February, March kind of time was purely Zoom drill nights. But in the middle of all of that, I got measured for my uniform. I think it was the end of February. It took about 2 weeks for my uniform to get in. I think it's just the perk of being little, because clearly they had a lot of my sizes knocking around. So yeah, I got it really quickly, because I know some people have waited a long time for their kit. And by the first week in March, I had all of my uniform, which again, put the video here of me getting all my kit and going through it. So now we're at about April, and that's when I really started going to drill nights in person. I pretty much religiously went, bar the odd time with uni and things like that, from April to like now, having passed out. So yeah, I went a lot, did a whole range of things. You know, most of it was PowerPoint, which is a shame. But, you know, a lot of good soldiering things were learned on those drill nights. And to be honest, I also really liked that it was a big social. It gave me a really good chance to speak to a lot of people in my regiment, get to know the staff as well as a lot of other recruits. Because the way my regiment works is we have a HQ for training. It's all centralised, and then there's 4 company locations, and all the soldiers then go off to those locations after pass out. So the people you meet when you're training, you might not necessarily be, you know, training with after pass out. So it's kind of nice to basically meet other people throughout the battalion and throughout the regiment. I also made an effort during like April, May, June, when I had less university, to get involved in a lot of the extracurricular events. I played a game of cricket for the regiment, quickly realised not my sport. Then I also did a half marathon, which was sort of like under the army umbrella, because I did it with loads of people that were from my unit. Then I also did a fair bit of engagement work in the early summer, so going into schools and talking to them and trying to empower them and introducing them to the army really, and getting them to do team building and confidence building and things like that, which I really enjoyed. I'd actually love to do way more of that if the opportunity came up within the army. And I also went and did a barrack day, which was really good fun actually. Basically PT, introduction to weapon systems, and we also got to witness reserve soldiers from our unit doing their RFT, which is their like role fitness tests, which they do every year, and to witness them kind of the times they get and like them doing it. I think that was the first time that I'd ever seen people do any tabbing or anything like that in person, so that was quite cool. So yeah, drill nights kind of went on and I kind of got a bit more involved in other stuff, and then in June I went and had a familiarisation visit at my unit, and then I got offered a job there, which was really great. So I've been kind of dabbling with work there at the unit since, and it's been a really good way to actually go, have lessons. Like, they have been such a big help to getting me through my training and getting me up to a good level. They gave me so many like extracurricular lessons on loads of different topics. I could basically pick the topic I wanted my lesson on, or they'll just sometimes sit and tell me all about the army or about our regimental history, and to be honest, that is invaluable. Like, the amount of time that I've been fortunate enough to get from people in the reserves, and also we have a lot of regulars in our unit, like just to sit down and talk to me and teach me. Like, genuinely, my unit are like golden for doing that. And also around the same time of me getting more active with the unit is when I sort of started to build the network up of people that I know in the army reserves. So generally you live close to your army reserve unit, and I basically met more and more people that live in my local area, and we created in the summer like tabbing groups and like workout groups, and like we were basically working out once, twice a week together, going to drill night. So I feel like we really developed a good bond with like a good group of people, which I can't wait to now be able to go to unit and actually be like, yo, we all did all of this tabbing stuff in the summer together. We did a whole year together at regiment. We did all of our basic training together, and now we actually get to pass out together and be at unit together, which is really nice actually. That was sort of how I filled my time in the summer. I then did mod 1 in the end of August. I did mod 2 pretty much straight after in September, and then you have to wait 8 weeks in between mod 2 and mod 3, which is when you do the PD pathway, which I've kind of explained before on my social medias. And you also do a lot of online learning. Oh my gosh, you do so much. So that's kind of what I was up to September, October time. And then obviously I did mod 3 in November and passed out at the end of November. So really within near enough a week, in 10 months, I went from attesting to passing out, which is quite quick. Actually, some people have been a lot longer. Some people have done it a lot quicker. I think it depends on the unit where you are situated in the UK. But yeah, that's kind of like what I've been doing. So now it pretty much is the break for Christmas. So looking forward to next year. There's actually some really, really fun things like lined up with my regiment. There's trips abroad to Europe. So we're doing Italy and Belgium. Fingers crossed COVID doesn't ruin it. And always within our regiment, there's regimental dinners and great ways to connect with other people and understand the history. You know, we also have competitions like us within the Rifles. We have our Chosen Man competition every year, consolidating everything, and it's such good fun. And yeah, there's just a lot of opportunities that crop up here and there, loads of sport that I want to get involved in, and obviously I'll have my phase 2 training too, and then making the moves to go regular. So it's a lot of exciting things, I think, coming up for me in my second year of my army career, if you will. And yeah, I hope this video was kind of interesting to understand the timeline, I guess, of events of what it was like for me for my first year in the army. I think I just want to end this video with, I guess, a parting note of like genuinely how I have found it. I think that there has been times where there's a lot of waiting around. There's been times where you're so keen to get on a course and you just can't get booked on for whatever reason. You know, or there will be times when you want training to be a bit more active, or you want to be able to do PT but you can't, or whatever. There's been a lot of that. But there's also been way more of fun, laughter, having great time on like courses, learning new things. Literally every drill night I went to, I would learn something new, being able to meet new people. I literally would meet new people every time I went to a drill night, and that's just like widening my social circle within the army, which I think is really great. Genuinely, I've really, really enjoyed my time in the reserves, and I didn't necessarily know what to expect when I got into the reserves. I assumed because we're part-time, we would have less opportunity than the regulars, and obviously I'm not regular, so I can't necessarily compare the two. But I can say that I feel like I've had a lot more opportunity than I thought that I would, considering it's part-time, considering I have university and other things like that going on. Like, there's been a real big like chance and opportunity to really get involved if you have the time, and that's one thing I really like about the reserves. And I just basically want to abuse that next year and really get stuck in and basically try and treat it as full-time as possible. So that is pretty much my take on the first year of my army reservist career. If you have any questions about reserve life generally, then let me know. I'll be happy to answer them or make a video on it, and I will see you guys in the next video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.